Shalom Israel, just want to give all glory and honor to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, right? Just going to go into, how our spirit should be moving in these last days and how we can't be really taken to carnal ways, right, and carnality, right? So let's just kick it off with a few precepts, right? It's the book of Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 5. It says, a wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels, right? So it says a wise man will hear. Right? That's a lot of the time, to really get this truth, right? You just got to be able to have an ear. Like, if any man have an ear, let him hear. A lot of the time, our people don't have an ear, caught up in the Christian church, caught up in Islam, right? It's not wise, right? And it says in the next part of that, it says, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsel. So a man of understanding, or a sister of understanding, right? That's the key thing there. So to have a spirit that allows you to discern what's going on, right? And in verse 6, to understand a proverb and the interpretation, the words of the wise and their dark sayings, right? The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instructions, right? So, not everyone's gonna, we know this, that not everyone's gonna be able to really understand what's going on. Not everyone's gonna be able to, oh, right, I'm an Israelite. Not everyone's gonna have that spirit. Some people are caught up so far deep in the carnality of the world that, they say, what country are you from? I'm black. I'm from black. I'm from here. I'm from Britain. Yeah, alright, you're gonna die thinking like that, right? So, and it says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So the beginning of knowledge, Salakia, right? But fools despise wisdom and instruction, right? You hate being told, hey, you can't be doing that. You can't be doing this. You just want to do what you feel like you want to do, and that's being carnal. You know what I'm saying? And that's not right. It's not something that you want to be really and truly doing, man. So, yeah, man. And let's get Revelation 1, the book of Revelation chapter 1, verse 3, right? It says, blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the word of this prophecy, and keep those things that are written therein, for the time is at hand. Blessed is he. So if you're, you ain't blessed if you ain't reading this, man. And, hearing the word, right? When brothers are, bringing it out at camp, sisters are kind of trying to tell you, sister's talking to another sister, telling her she's an Israelite, but she's in Islam, right? Or, and it's even a cut, actually, for them that say, hey, the Lord's done away with it. It says, keep those things which are written therein, right? For the time is at hand. What time is at hand? The destruction of this place, man. And we just want to bear that in mind in terms of, how we move in these last days. We want to make sure and do our best to make sure that we're blameless in these last days, really and truly, man. So even that point that I mentioned about the discernment, right? Quickly go to the book of Sirach, chapter 32, right, and verse, I believe it's 16, right? It says, here we go, verse 16, they that fear the Lord shall find judgment and shall kindle justice as a light, right? A sinful man will not be reproved, but findeth an excuse according to his will, right? So this is even showing that if you're not really taking heed to what's going on, your spirit, right, is just going to be lost and caught up in every and anything, right? And you're not going to be able to discern what's wrong and what's right, because we were made to be the gardeners of this earth, man, to do the husbandry of this earth. But because we've followed after these wicked doctrines of heathens that they've put upon us, right? Hey, we're kind of lost in madness, really, right? So let's go to this wisdom. Let's go to the wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse 3. I'll start at. It says, for froward thoughts separate from God, and his power, when it is tried, reproveth the unwise, right? So perverse thoughts separate you from the Most High, because you're thinking carnally. You're not thinking about your spirit. You're not thinking spiritually, You're thinking, oh, what do I feel like? Rather than let me take counsel from what it says in the scriptures, or let me take counsel from an elder, right? Or someone in the congregation, or someone in your camp. You're not doing that. You're just going according to what you feel like. And that's not really right. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to do anything without counsel, right? And that's just showing your spirit is hasting. You kind of just jump at any sign you see, right? Verse 4, it says, For into a malicious soul wisdom shall not enter, nor dwell in a body that is subject unto sin, right? So if you're sinning, you're eating pork, you're being with the heathen, right? You're doing contrary to what the Bible says. You're not going to be able to have that wisdom and to have that knowledge and to have that understanding of who you are in these last days. That's why you're going to be caught up in every other doctrine but the truth, which is that the so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians are the Israelites according to the scriptures. You're not going to be able to understand that, right? Can't. Let's kind of go deeper into that as well, man. Let's go to I'll go to Proverbs 25 and verse 28. It praises, right? It reads. It says, Proverbs 25 and 28. He that have no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls, right? So this is just showing that the Bible is just beautiful in how it, shows how it uses metaphors to explain how you're spiritually broken and destroyed, right? Because that's what our people have been for a very long time, right? But we're starting to wake up and understand, who we are, right? So this is now showing that if you don't have control over your spirit, right, you're going to be just, you're going to be able to be attacked from every direction, right? You're going to have all doctrines mixed up in your understanding. So you want to make sure that you you want to make sure that you're having control over your spirit, right? Go to Matthew 26. Go to the book of Matthew chapter 26 and verse 41, right? And it reads, it says, Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak, right? So that's now showing that in our spirit, we want to do what is pleasing unto the Most High. But there's something, which is the carnality of us that says we can do otherwise, right? And that's even really with how we think, right? And that's what we've been put in, that's what we've been indoctrinated to believe, right? And Solomon does a beautiful precept in Wisdom of Solomon, where we see that, right? It says, this is Wisdom of Solomon 2 and verse 1, it says, For the ungodly said, reasoning with themselves, but not aright, our life is short and tedious, and in the death of a man there is no remedy, neither was there any man known to have returned from the grave, right? So this is not how you're supposed to be thinking, right? Because this is how the so-called white man thinks. He thinks, you just die and that's it. No, right? Because it literally says, we can even go to verse 23. For God, this is Wisdom of Solomon 2 and verse 23, for God created man to be immortal and made him to be an image of his own eternity. Nevertheless, through envy of the devil came death into the world, and they that do hold on his side do find it. So if you're holding onto the thinking of the so-called white man, that's going to be your detriment. That's how you're gonna perish. You're not going to be able to gain salvation because you're going to be following after just what they're saying. Money. You're going to be like Eliphaz. Gold is my God, I believe it is, right? You don't want to be thinking like that, because there's going to be a time, right? You're going to have to let go of all these things, and we're seeing, money is on the downfall right now, right? So you want to be building up your spirit and make sure that your spirit is right in these last days, man. You want to really make sure your spirit is right in these last days. So let's go to James 1 and verse number 20. Start at verse 20. We start at verse 19, right? It says, Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear and slow to speak, slow to wrath, for the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God, right? So there's times, we as brothers, we as sisters, we do fumble, because we react carnally. We don't move according to the spirit, that's not right, So we want to make sure that we're slow to wrath, you know what I'm saying? We want to make sure that we're slow to anger, and we'll be quicker to hear rather than to just, okay, I got a response straight away, right? I think it even continues. See that? It says verse 22 as well, says, wherefore lay apart all filthiness and superfluity of naughtiness, and receive with meekness the engrafted word, which is able to save your souls. See that? So that's now showing, right, we need to really let go of the carnality, right? Let go of your carnal ways so that our souls are able to inherit the kingdom, right? And to inherit, what the Most High has ordained for us from the beginning, right? And even there's a good point on where it says about letting go of carnality, right? Get that in Romans 12, right, and verse 1. It reads, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, be the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. So our reasonable service is to make sure that we're acceptable unto the Most High. How we move, how our spirit is, right? Because like we know, this is just carnal. This is just a carnal vessel, right? But it's the spirit that matters, So you want to make sure that you present yourself holy, set apart, different, not like everybody else, right? Verse 2, and be not conformed to the world, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may reprove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. So if you're improving your mind, you're improving your thinking, you're improving how you're moving, you're improving your spirit, right? And that's washing away of the carnality in your mind, right? Because you don't want to be like, you don't want to be like, you're set apart. You're not supposed to be like everyone, right? You're obviously supposed to be different, right? So I'm trying to just quickly grab a precept, right? Let me get that. There's a precept that I really wanna get, right? See that? Salakia. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, here we go. This is what I want, because you don't want to be like this in these last days, right? This is a beautiful precept, right? See that? Look, it's the book of 1 Samuel chapter 16 and verse 14, right? But the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from the Lord troubled him, right? Because, hey, the Most High does have evil spirits that he will send, and now you're caught up, because you want to be wicked, right? And you don't want to end up like Saul, where you're bugged out, right? You used to be in the truth, and now you're OT only, and now you're every nation can be saved. You don't want to be like that, right? You don't want the Spirit to depart from you, right? The Spirit is supposed to teach you all truth, right? You're supposed to gain understanding of who you are, right? And obviously, you're being wicked. If your soul's not right, if your mind's not right, then you're going to be going off. So let's get that as well. Another precept as well in Titus 1 and verse number 8, right? And it reads, because this is how we should be moving. This is really and truly how we should be moving, right? An example, right? It says, Titus 1 and 8, but a lover of hospitality, a lover of good men, sober, just, holy, temperate, holding fast the faithful word as he have been taught, that he may be able by sound doctrine both to exhort and to convince the gainsayers, right? So if you're moving in the right spirit, you're going to be able to be waking up the lost sheep, right? Because you're going to be representing yourself holy, right? Set apart. And now you're going to be, because we're representatives of the Most High, so people are going to be watching how you're moving. Oh, why are you wearing fringes? You know, the way you move is so, it's amazing. You're kind, you're giving, you're loving, right? You're hospitable, right? You know, so you want to be moving like this is an example of how you want to be moving, right? You know, yeah, even you know, and this is how you don't want to be moving, right? Let's go to 2 Timothy. You know, it's a basic one, but you know, all praises to the Most High. It says 2 Timothy 1 and verse 7, for God hath not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. So you don't want to be moving in the spirit of fear, because if you're moving in the spirit of fear, you're going to be hasting. You're going to be hasting to do stuff. You're going to be quick, you know, kind of reacting, you know, rather than, you know, you don't want to be, you know, you're talking to your friend and there's a misunderstanding, but because you're doubting in your mind, or you're kind of scared of something happening, you start reacting in all sorts of funny ways, man, right? And then let's get that in the book of Sirach, right? Sirach chapter 5, right, and verse 11. I'll start at verse 10. Be steadfast in thy understanding, and let thy word be the same. Be swift to hear, and let thy life be sincere, and with patience give answer. If thou hast understanding, answer thy neighbor. If not, lay thy hand upon thy mouth. Honor and shame is in talk, and the tongue of man is his fool, right? So we want to be very wary of how, you know, we're responding to people, right? How we act, you know, because in the world you kind of, hey, I got, you know, just, you know, kind of say it, and that's they kind of teach you that in school, you know, anyone just talk when you want. Nah, you got things should be done in decency and in order, right? You know, so you just want to make sure that's the main thing. You want to make sure you're moving in that kind of spirit, right? And I'll end it on this this last precept, right? This end it on this last precept, right? 1 Corinthians 9 and verse 25, right? It says, and every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible, right? So you want to strive for mastery temperate. You want to strive to be temperate in all things, right? In just everything you do, you want to be able to move like that, because that's a man that's wise. That's a man that's full of understanding, knowledge, right? How to treat, you know, that knows how to treat his brothers and his sisters, right? You know, that's how you should be moving. You shouldn't be moving with haste. You shouldn't be moving to just react and do whatever whenever you want, right? I know I said one more, but hey, you know, kind of got, I think, one more precept, right? One more precept. See that it says, this is the book of Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 15. It says, the rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left to himself bringeth his mother to shame. Right? So that's like, if we're not, you know, that's why we've been punished. That's why Israel has been punished, because we don't learn. You know, we don't like to learn. But now we're beginning to, right, I don't want to end up like our forefathers did, or the foremothers did. I don't want to end up on the ship and I'm being taken to so-and-so, or just in any sort of calamity. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make sure I'm taking heed to what the word is saying, right? And with that, just want to give all glory and honor to Yahweh Shem Yahshai and say Shalom, Shalom. It's big brother Kapash from wfiEurope. Shalom.